Immigration consequences. People on a temporary basis living in the United States and people who are not lawful permanent residents of the United States face an uphill battle when charged with a criminal offense. A person who is facing a misdemeanor or felony offense normally has to be concerned about the prospects of going to jail. But if you are not a legal permanent resident in the United States, you also face the consequences where your conviction can lead to you losing your status and being deported from the United States. Now, not every single crime comes with its specific immigration consequences, but a lot of them do. And it's important to consider the immigration consequences if you're being charged with a criminal offense. When a person is not a lawful permanent resident in the United States, they face additional consequences that people who are U.S. citizens do not have to face. For example, when a person is charged with a crime, they have 3 different types of areas of crime that can be considered deportable crimes. What that means is if a person is here on a temporary status and they receive a conviction for a specific type of crime, that person can lose that status and be deported. Now, these types of crimes can be things that are categorized as 1, a crime of moral turpitude, 2, an aggravated felony, or 3, a crime of violence. Now, these are important because a person who is charged with an offense that is defined as one of those 3 categories faces the ability to be deported if they are convicted of a crime involving them. An aggravated felony is any crime where a person's potential sentence is at least 1 year in a jail. For example, Penal Code 288A, commonly known as lewd acts on a minor, can require a person to be sentenced to 3, 6, or 8 years in a state prison. If you were convicted of a PC 288, that would be considered an aggravated felony, and that would lead to your deportation if you are not a U.S. citizen. A crime of moral turpitude is a crime considering bad thoughts. Now, this can be anything such as murder, as well as theft crimes and welfare fraud. For example, under welfare fraud, a person has underreported their income to the state and received aid that they were not legally entitled to. Because this is a crime of bad thoughts, it would be considered a crime of moral turpitude that people who are not United States citizens could face deportation if convicted of a crime of moral turpitude, such as welfare fraud. A crime of violence can be something like rape, robbery, or domestic violence. Any crime that is considered violent under federal law is something that also can lead to deportation for a person who is not a U.S. citizen and who is not lawfully in the United States, or someone who's here on a temporary basis. If that person receives a crime of violence conviction, that person could and would be deported under federal law. Hiring a criminal defense attorney that understands a person's immigration status is very important to making sure you have the best attorney for your case. An attorney that understands what your immigration status is, whether you're here on a temporary basis through a visa or work permit of some kind, is very important. The reason for that is when we get to negotiations with a prosecutor, we have the ability to modify or change a charge based on your status. This is important because some crimes are not as bad as others. Now, we've already detailed crimes of moral turpitude, crimes of violence, and what's considered aggravated felonies in federal law. Now, certain crimes are not considered under those categories, and those are considered immigration-safe pleas. An attorney that understands your immigration rights and immigration laws can help you to make sure that you, if resolving your case with a plea bargain, can get a plea bargain that will not affect your deportation status in terms of whether or not you would be automatically deported or deportable. Make sure your attorney understands your immigration status, and that is something that is kept in mind when dealing with prosecutors in order to make sure that even if you can be kept out of jail, you won't automatically be deported right after your case closes.